achieved.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Studio Day Jeffrey, Day Quarantine, where we are going to talk about Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Now, if anything is clear from listening to me on the radio or watching me on YouTube or whatever, I am not hot take guy. I am not going to Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless you, and just start yelling about stuff because that's dumb. It gets clicks and it gets ratings, but I would prefer to earn clicks and ratings with good content, not with the lowest hanging fruit and slapstick stuff. But today, the quote from Jaylon Smith was the most Dallas Cowboys thing I've ever heard. And hear me out. I'm not going ranting and raving on this because there are things that you come to accept when you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. There will always be some challenges with the Cowboys because their organization is unique. Jerry Jones has created an awesome brand that is super popular, generates tons of excitement and fandom and money. But Jaylon Smith being asked about their game being flexed out of being the Sunday night game, and into being a noon game because the matchup isn't good and the Cowboys aren't good and they wanted to have a better matchup. And I'll read you the verbatim quote from Jaylon. And I want to be real clear here. This is not about Jaylon Smith. This is about Jerry Jones. Quote, now that you guys are telling me this, he didn't know the game had been flexed, by the way, on Thursday. The game's on Sunday. My first thought is, well, it's a business. And then Jaylon asked if Jerry was hurt by the decision. And a reporter told him, oh, no, he's trying to tell us that noon is just as good or better. And he said, quote, if the owner ain't tripping, we're good. We're good. And I saw people, because we talked about this on the radio, I saw people saying, like, this is nothing, right? This is nothing. I agree this is nothing if you're using it as another way to criticize Jaylon Smith. He's played pretty well the last couple of weeks. And so I want to be abundantly clear that I am not criticizing Jaylon Smith. Jerry Jones created this. Because I tell you this, there is no other locker room in the NFL. None. So if you're somebody who's like, oh, you're making a story out of nothing, you tell me which other pro football team in the NFL, when you went to a player in the locker room or on a Zoom call and said, hey, and they won't say it this way, but this is what you're saying, your team sucks, the team that you're playing against sucks, and people don't care about your game, so it got moved to the back burner so that they could move a game that people care about to primetime. Like, what do you think of that? There is not a player in the league on a different football team whose answer is going to be about, like, they might say, you know, it's a business and the NFL is going to do what they think is, but they might say that part of it. They might. But nobody is following that up with, oh, man, what does the owner think? Because that is where plenty of Cowboys players' minds go to is they know what Jerry is. They know that he's a marketing machine. They know about the Cowboys brand. But no football player in another locker room is going to have their brain going to, I wonder what my business partner, the owner of the team, thinks. Tell me that. And if he's cool, we're cool. No other team would have that happen. Your answer when you ask a guy about their game being flexed and out of prime time and into a noon game, your answer from every other player will be something along the lines of, we don't worry about when we play. All we know is we're still in this thing and we got to go win a football game. So whenever time we're going to play, we're going to play. And there might be a reference to their coach somewhere, but nobody's brain is going to the owner and TV ratings and what does my TV ratings and branding-driven owner think about us being flexed. On no other team. And that is the Cowboys' hurdle. That's the hurdle. So I'm not ranting. I'm not raving. It's just the most Cowboy thing I've ever heard in covering the team. And I'm not going after Jaylon at all. Jerry Jones pitches this to the players. It's part of his pitch. Jaylon accepted the pitch. Cowboys brand, business, grow business. Jerry's going to help me. This is part of the Cowboys experience. All Jaylon Smith did was sign a contract extension that was offered to him and follow up on business opportunities that he had. No problem with that whatsoever, and he's played well the last couple weeks. This is just the most Dallas Cowboys quote I've ever seen. It encompasses a lot. A lot. It's what makes it a challenge for coaches, because you do have players that in that locker room, when you ask them about something, they're not thinking about their coach. The coach should be the leader of the team, not the owner. But this team is always going to have guys who it's first name basis and buddy with the owner. And so there's always going to be this muddled weirdness where it's like, okay, well, how many of these players are in any sort of fear of playing time or of not being here when they're buddies with the owner? And it's the owner who started it, and it's his fault. But it's just the most Cowboy thing ever. All right. Somebody was asking me about, a lot of you actually have been asking me about the Cowboys and Mike Nolan. Maybe he's not going to make it, and that's starting to become a popular thing, that maybe Mike Nolan's days here are numbered and Mike Nolan won't be the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys next year. Like, who is the next guy? And to me, I only think you need to know two names, and one is just because I want him. It won't happen. And then one is the name you should know because it is the most likely result. Wade Phillips, to me, every defense he coaches is a good defense. Every defense he coaches rushes the passer well. It's what he does. Wade Phillips is a stud. He's a great coordinator. You don't want him as your head coach. Wade Phillips, I want to call Wade Phillips. I think he'll end up being the defensive coordinator of the Raiders. The name you need to know is George Edwards. He's already on the staff. And he was the defensive coordinator from 14 to 19 in Minnesota, 4-3. He's worked with Mike Zimmer. Jerry has a relationship with Mike Zimmer. He will call Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer will tell him, yep, hire him or promote him. That's your guy. So George Edwards is the name you need to know when you're talking about defensive coordinator. Matt Barnes was one of the guys who was asking about that. Christian Conte, he said, hey, Jeff, been dealing with some stuff, and your vids make me a lot more happy. Thank you. That's a very real comment that I very much appreciate, because as a lot of you know, I go through stuff every day, anxiety, depression, stuff like that. I deal with stuff. A lot of people deal with stuff. So if a video that you guys watch helps out your day in any way, hearing that means a ton. So I appreciate you, Christian. I love you, buddy. Garrett, hey, Jeff, Jim Harbaugh is being looked at by several NFL teams as a potential head coach hire. Should the Cowboys be one of the teams considering bringing him on? I'm not a big fan of failing up. If you failed at Michigan, I don't want you as my head coach, but he's been a successful NFL head coach, so somebody might be interested. I would not want it to be my team. Jamal Williams, Joseph Osai, defensive end from Texas, is a beast. That would be one of my picks for the Cowboys. Let's get it done. I agree. Joseph Osai, defensive end out of Texas, edge player. He's a good player, and I think he'll be a first-round pick. And if you let Captain Trade Down ride, we could talk about Joseph Osai. I'm not picking him in the top 10, but if you let me ride with Captain Trade Down, we can work something out. Cavanaugh, is there any way possible Dallas may sign Justin Simmons, a safety from the Broncos? Because I still do want the safety from Oregon, but they may not invest a pick for him. So far, I'm not a big fan of this safety class, and what it actually leads me to believe is the most likely outcome is that Xavier Woods signs an extension. I think that's a realistic outcome because safety's not a big money spot in the NFL unless you're super awesome at it. So Xavier Woods isn't going to have a big market. They're still desperate for safeties. And for the vast majority of his career, he's been somewhere between a decent and solid NFL starter. So he's probably the guy in the secondary that I think is most likely to get an extension because he'll be cheap. Corners cost more than safeties. So you may let all yours go, and maybe Xavier Woods is the guy you keep around so that you're not desperate to throw in a rookie or a bad free agent signing into a starting role. So I would not doubt that Xavier Woods is the guy. Because Simmons, they don't have the money. You can always create some money, but creating money sucks. Because what you end up doing is you would say, okay, right now the Cowboys have room to franchise tag Dak, basically, or almost, depending on what the cap is. They got room to franchise tag Dak, and that's about it. That's about it. Now, if you want Justin Simmons, and what's that going to cost you? $10, $12, $15 million a year? Well, you got to clear that because you don't have it right now. And to clear that, you restructure contracts. You write guys a check to do funny accounting. You move back some money, but that check that you wrote them is guaranteed money, so it has to be accounted for later. And so all you do is you end up where if a guy gets hurt or a guy retires and you're sitting there staring at a contract with a bunch of dead money on the books, I don't want to play that game. Not right now. I'm good. Ted, Jeff, you trade down to say 10. Micah Parsons and Rashawn Slater. Micah Parsons, Penn State linebacker, Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle, Northwestern, are there. Who do you take? And can't wait till we get to the 22% club. I need you guys to turn on the notifications for the videos now. Click on the bell. I'm at 21.9, trying to get a 22% club. I'm part of the club and been rocking with you for a minute. Love the videos and get kind of sad when I don't see one for a while. LOL. Oh, I try to make you happy. I just finished a radio show, but I wanted to make a video to get this Jerry Jones take out of my system. I would take Rashawn Slater. I think Rashawn Slater is going to be a really good left tackle or guard or center, wherever you line him up. I think he's going to be a really good offensive lineman for somebody for 10 to 15 years. If he's available and you've traded down and accumulated picks, I'm picking him. And Jacob said, hey, Jeff, as always, love your videos. Got 2 questions from your live with Vach. That's my guy, Vach Lombardi. Make sure you're subscribed to his stuff, too. He's a good dude, and he's quite good at this. What would your thoughts be if the Cowboys traded down in the first round and then picked Jalen Waddle, Alabama receiver? Oh, I'm cutting that one off right now because I am going to talk about that tomorrow. That's a tease. So leave in the comments what you want to hear about tomorrow. Make sure you're please mashing the thumbs up, the like button, and please leave in the comments. Maybe a positive message for the universe. Maybe a positive message for me. Maybe a positive message to yourself. Or maybe what you want to hear about tomorrow. All those things we love. All right, you guys have a good night or day, depending what time you watch this video on what day. And I will catch you tomorrow where we will talk about Jalen Waddle. And we will talk about the possibility of trading down and going offense with the first pick. And I'll make it make sense. I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'll see you guys. Love you. Bye.